I'm a big enough person to admit when I made a mistake. In this case, I went from rolling my eyes at collagen to regarding it as one of my favorite supplements. Here's why I changed my mind and how cool it is. First, I'm Dr. Alex Watson, and I get people ready. By that I mean that I get people ready for surgeries, cancer therapies, and performance-based fitness type competitions, those sorts of things. In this kind of a practice, I use collagen a lot as a very versatile supplement and can apply to both rehabilitation, skin health, metabolic health. You'll see. All right, let's get started. So the number one use I had for collagen, even before I changed my mind, was that it is great for helping to heal injured tendons. This is based off a lot of research by Dr. Keith Barr, and I saw a podcast that he was on back when I was in med school, and then actually he was on Tim Ferriss recently, and it reminded me just how cool the research is and how effective collagen supplementation can be for someone who's got tendonitis or other kinds of tendon-related or connective tissue aches and pains, that kind of stuff. So much so that I actually rehabbed a tendonitis that's been plaguing me off and on for years, and this time it was actually in place for about 3 or 4 months, within 2 weeks, by just using collagen supplementation, vitamin C with that, and doing twice daily loading of that tendon. So it was down here in the medial epicondyle. I just pressed on this part of my hand, which is resisting these muscles here. And by doing that, nice light stimulus, took some collagen beforehand, did that twice a day, and then what happened? Better in 2 weeks. How about that? That's super cool. Why this matters. So the big reason why collagen supplementation does what regular protein can't do necessarily is the composition of it. Collagen is made up of a number of amino acids like proline, glycine, and then kind of derivatives of those that aren't really found a ton in whey protein or other protein supplements. There's a reason why it's elastic like that. Those amino acids allow them to cross-link and give it that elasticity. So when you are going to rehab something like that, you need the building blocks to fix it. That protocol of loading the tendon, all that stuff, works because you're telling the body where the problem is, and then you're giving it the building blocks that it needs to put down actual new fibers in that problem. Whey protein doesn't have enough of those amino acids to really do that. In fact, most proteins don't. And that's why collagen supplementation is really good for rehab. Another important area is its impact on skin health. So that's where everyone keeps asking me, if you take collagen, can you improve your wrinkles? Despite what my face looks like right now, actually, yeah, apparently you can. Because your skin is made up of a lot of collagen. That's what gives it the elasticity and hydration, all that stuff. And they can do this pretty quickly, too, in a matter of a few months. The beauty is collagen is pretty cheap at this point, so kind of a why not thing. But there are other contexts in terms of skin health where it's really, really helpful, and that's going to be wound healing. So for wound healing, I kind of do a mix of, general protein supplementation previously, now collagen, zinc, vitamin E, and other sort of skin-related vitamins and minerals. This can dramatically help accelerate that process because, again, you need to have the building blocks for these different protein types to lay it down where it needs to go. So in this case, it's really helpful. But these next two areas are where I'm really, really excited about it, and what pushed it up on the list, probably even displacing creatine. I'm number one up there. So, sorry, creatine, collagen wins. That's because it has benefits for both sleep and blood sugar control too. Really because of the glycine component. So if you remember, proline, glycine, other ones like that make up collagen. So if you take enough collagen or the glycine specifically, you can help both sleep and blood sugar control. On the sleep side, somewhere between 3 and 5 grams of glycine specifically can actually improve sleep quality. And it does this via a few mechanisms. In general, it acts as an inhibitory neurotransmitter, kind of like, GABA, if you've heard of GABA. It basically is a blanket calming downer of different, neuron activity. It also works either directly through that or independent of this one. Didn't get this deep in the weeds because why would I waste that much time when this is already that cool? It lowers core body temperature, which is really important for getting into that deep sleep early in the night. And then also can reduce sleep latency, so it helps you fall asleep faster. All very cool aspects of something as ubiquitous and cheap and available, and those are a lot of synonyms, as collagen. Finally, on the blood sugar side, this is the one that threw me off the most. So there were studies demonstrating an inverse relationship between glycine levels in the blood and blood sugar control, insulin sensitivity, all that stuff. Is that causal? Didn't know. However, now we do. When you give glycine in high enough doses, you actually improve the function of the pancreas, both in the alpha cells that release glucagon. Normally that's going to raise blood sugar, as well as working on some of the incretins. So incretins are things like GLP-1, GIP, all those guys. And that's very neat in terms of how it works, but does it actually work? Yes. The outcome studies for things that matter in this case are going to be measures of insulin sensitivity. And one study showed that actually improves that by about 25-ish%. So now we can officially say that, like creatine, this is something that is cheap, really no negatives to it necessarily, and can have a lot of positives across the board. Something that can be taken just as a daily supplement if you'd like, or can be used for direct purposes. So if you're going to take it for an actual purpose here, the rehab aspect of it, the blood sugar side of things, or the sleep effect, obviously you need to time it appropriately. For blood sugar, you might want to do it either before meals, so you respond better to the normal after meal sugar control aspects of insulin, all that stuff, or just take it about an hour before bed if you're doing this for the sleep aspect. Or if you're doing it just kind of general, trying to prevent your skin from looking as inelastic and wrinkly as a Shar-Pei, in that case, take it whenever it feels kind of appropriate. Arguably, you may want to take it either with your whey protein or even before exercise in general. So even if you're not doing it for a rehab purpose, there are some studies that suggest that when you exercise and have whey protein, not only do your levels not go up, they actually go down on some of these circulating amino acids. So you may want to be taking this with that so that you're not having some sort of a situation where levels paradoxically lower because they're being used up in certain processes, and then they're not available where you need them. All right. Thanks for watching. Please give this a like so that others can find it, and catch you next time.